Poltorak, and today I'm going to be walking you through my process of creating a portfolio website. It all started with initial sketches. Pencil paper is always the way that my mind likes to start fleshing out projects, and this was no different. As you can see, I have 3 concepts laid out for a home page. Each of them has a headshot of myself and my name highlighted right at the top of the page, just so that I could make the site personable and obviously call out my name so that it's memorable to a potential employer. I then have projects listed right there on the home page. From some research that I'd done in the past, I found out that many employers like to get right to the point and just see what you've been up to. They don't want to have to click through lots of pages of navigation to find your work. As I started to decide on a Z pattern of displaying my work with a description on one side and then a picture, then switching that for each line to draw the eye down the page, I also started to develop the ideas for discipline cards. Now, discipline cards are just these cards that would show up directly under my hero section, and they would highlight the 3 main disciplines that I have grown a strong expertise in, those being UX design, UX research, and graphic design. On hover, I wanted these to show some information about it, and I wanted them to also act as in-page navigation, bringing you down to the section for that respective discipline. As you can see, I started to build this out more, adding in some colors, calling on the brand, of course, with the brand blue and the gray in the background there. I drew out those cards under the header and also mocked up pages for a simple project, a more detailed case study, a resume, and a contact page as well. I created high fidelity mockups then in Adobe XD, showing off how these cards would work, having a sort of parallax scroll imagery that was able to be displayed here, as well as the projects, as discussed previously. When it came to development, some of my ideas, specifically these cards that were really the core of my page, showing off my work experience in these different areas and acting as a really strong UX piece to navigate within the page, they just weren't supported on the typical website builder platforms like Wix or Squarespace. However, I didn't have time to code completely from scratch, so I took on learning a new tool called Webflow. And Webflow was really interesting. It took a more visual approach to creating clean semantic HTML and CSS code. Now, you still have to have a knowledge of display elements like block or flexbox or grid, and the box model with margin and padding, relative positioning, absolute positioning, all of these sort of web development-y features. However, it really just clicked a lot faster with me because these were all displayed as buttons, and you could see your website being edited in live time right to the left of it. So I really enjoy this tool, and I would highly recommend it if anyone else is not super comfortable with coding but wants to get into more custom development. As I finished the site, it really came together to look a lot like that XD prototype I had put together, and it was very fulfilling to see this take place. I have those work cards framed out. They have hover states so that when you hover over them, it shows the discipline and includes a call to action to click it to bring you down to a specific section. As you can see, one of my sections is framed out here, and it includes a title for each of the projects, a very short 1 or 2 sentence description, and a call to action to view more about it if they wanted to. I went with transparent mockups to really keep the page clean and break out of that boxy feel. And I also included some of my own personality by having a personal page that kind of shares some of the adventures and things that I like to do in my own time. Lastly, of course, I have the contact page with a resume button linked right there at the top, so that if someone wants to get in contact or potentially hire me, it's all right there for them. So that concludes my portfolio website presentation. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me.